Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and let's finish off my box of Southeast Asian films, shall we? Alright. First one tonight, I think is a bit underrated. I do. And that is Raging Phoenix. This is Jija Yanan's sophomore effort after Chocolate, and I think this one's a lot of fun. It's a lot of people throw this one under the bus because there's some CGI effects, like for the backgrounds that are used. But I don't know. I thought it was a lot of fun. I think one big reason is because Jija is actually allowed to express a little bit more fun and lightheartedness in this movie, and her charisma kind of shows off in it. Even the scenes in between the action scenes are actually pretty entertaining in this one. There's some really good fighting in it. She gets to fight against some female bodybuilder, like a real-life female bodybuilder near the end, and the fight scene's fantastic. I think a lot of people just, a few of these Thai action films, some people throw the baby out with the bathwater, especially if the film has a little bit of CGI in it. People are just like, oh, well, you can't use CGI in a Thai action film, and they rate it like a 1 out of 10. It's like, yeah, I mean, I don't like them using CGI any more than you do, but there's really not that much that's used in this anyways. It's only a few scenes, and all the fighting is really good. Pacing is really fast. I thought this was a really strong sophomore effort, but apparently I'm in the minority. Check it out, though, if you like Jija Yanan. Chocolate is the first movie you should watch from her, though. Our next one I covered in my Asian horror playlist, and that is Rattree, Flower of the Night. So in this one, you basically have a girl dying and then haunting the residents at an apartment complex, which forces the landlady to hire a multitude of exorcists who fail quite miserably. This is a 2003 film. Check out my Asian horror playlist from 2003. But this is one of those Thai horror comedies that does a really good job of blending the horror and the comedy. It doesn't get so goofy that the horror goes away, you know what I mean? So it has a nice balance to it. And they made sequels to this too, but I still think the first one is the best of the bunch. It's kind of a scary little back cover there, isn't it? Yeah, Rattree, Flower of the Night. Good one. From Thailand. Again, we're running through Thai films again tonight. But our next one's a bit of a break because we're going back to Vietnam. Yes, in my last video I covered Clash, and in this video I cover The Rabble. Again, the same two actors here. You got Johnny Nguyen and Ngo Than Van. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. This is the first one they did from 2006, and this is an overall better film than Clash. Mostly because the acting just feels a little bit better. The plot feels a little bit more fleshed out. And it has some I don't know, how would you call it? Cultural content, based on Vietnam itself. So, good solid action movie here. This guy, Johnny Nguyen, he's got some serious ups. This dude can jump. Some of his, spinning jump kicks are just ridiculous. And he shows off some of his spinning kicks in this movie. This guy should have been in more movies, man. Really. Special features here. You have a commentary by the stars, as well as Bay Logan. You have a bunch of exclusive interviews in featurettes here, too. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, featurettes. So this is a lot of special features, too. Definitely check out The Rebel if you're interested. It has some slow parts, but there's more than enough action to satisfy. And when the action hits, it's of a good quality. Next one here, covered in my Asian horror playlist. Not a big fan of it. Sars Wars. Yeah, I don't know. The humor really didn't work that well. You could check out my review. Let me check the year on this, just for your information, in case you want to know. Check out my review. That's 2004. Yeah, I don't know. Didn't really like it too much. Should have been a lot better than what it was. Probably a little bit too goofy for its own good. Like, Rattree Flower of the Night had the nice blend of horror and comedy. This just went overboard. It went overboard. Not in a good way. A lot of people like it, though. Next one here I covered again in my Asian horror playlist, and that's Secret Room number 7. Probably the rarest Thai film that I have in my collection. I enjoyed this one. It's basically like a low-budget student film. Like real low budget. Very atmospheric. Check out my review from 2005 in my 2005 video. Very odd film. There's really no other Thai horror film like this. Really isn't. Tons of atmosphere, but I could see why a lot of people would not like it. I'm glad I have this in my collection too. It's one I go to more often than you might think. Another horror film. That is Scared from 2005. This is a Thai slasher. Slasher films are kind of like zombie films in Asian horror. Kind of hit or miss. They go through stretches where you have a handful that just aren't very good. This is one of the ones that's actually very entertaining. Very high body count, maximized pacing. You know what I mean? It's what you want in a slasher, right? So yeah, check out my review from the 2005 video. I like this one quite a bit. Scared. I go to this one quite a bit too, for repeat viewings. And as usual, gotta have Shudder in your library, right? Another Thai horror film. This is the big one that everybody knows about. And rightfully so. It's a very good movie. This might be the first Region 3 DVD I ever bought. I think that's true. I bought this even before I had a Region Free player, and I couldn't wait to watch it, so I just changed the region of my DVD player on my computer, and just to watch it, and then I changed it back to my region, because you're only allowed to change it like 4 or 5 times. So I remember doing that. Changing the region code on my DVD player just to watch one movie. So this is very good. Check out my review from the 2004 video in the Asian horror playlist. Again, I think Alone is just as good as Shudder, or pretty close to it. A lot of underrated movies in this Thai collection, man. I mean, I had, what was the Bangkok Haunted, or Bangkok Knockout, I think is underrated. Ong Bak 2 is way underappreciated for no good reason. Raging Phoenix, nobody likes, and that movie's really good. A lot of underrated movies. We got more coming up. Here's Sick Nurses for you. I covered this in my 2007 review. I love this movie. This movie's phenomenal. In terms of pure entertainment value, man, this is up there with some of my favorite Thai horror films of all time. Some people don't like this one very much. But I love the lighting in this. The characters are actually pretty interesting and are blackly comical in their, characterization. Some gore in this. There's pretty good gore in this. For like a movie that's based on a ghost as your antagonist, this is a lot of gore compared to most Asian ghost films. So yeah, check out my review from 2007. Sick Nurses. An extremely grisly horror story about a sexy hospital staff. Yes, this could be the hottest cast of women in any movie of all time. I'm not joking, man. No joke. Next, we got Yum Goong, of course. Tony Jaa, also known as The Protector. I got to see this one in the theater multiple times, along with Ong Bak, the first one. Yeah, this one's the one where Tony, they steal his elephants, and he's pissed. Actually, the first 40 minutes of this movie are pretty shaky, but after you get through that 40 minutes, once you get to the first big action fight, it's just nonstop, just awesomeness for the rest of the film. This one has some excellent uncut fights that go on for minutes on end, which is quite an accomplishment. And some great stuff in this. Again, you don't go to Tony Jaa films expecting, great acting or plot. This movie delivers on the action in spades. And the sequel, Tom Yum Goong 2. Am I going to say it's underrated? Yeah, screw it. I'll say it. It's a little underrated. Everybody hates this. Again, because of the CGI. And, kind of like Raging Phoenix. But this one has a little bit more CGI than Raging Phoenix had. And it does get distracting. I do agree. They should have just eliminated the CGI altogether. But you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, people. This has a lot of fighting in it. It has a lot of good fighting in it. Not a whole lot of, like, instant classic fights. But there's a lot of just action in this movie. So, you got Ji-Ja-Yanin in it, and she is a little bit underused, is my other criticism in this. She should have had a more prominent... She gets a lot of screen time, but she always seems like she's outmatched against these big guys, which is nonsense. She should have been winning more fights in this movie. But in any case, I don't know. I liked it. Sue me. Now here's another one that a lot of people just don't know about. That's phenomenal. Vengeance of an Assassin. This movie, wow. Within the first 10 minutes of this movie, you're going to know that it's completely ridiculous. This is actually the last film that was directed by Rattree before he passed away, which is just really sad. He was in his early 50s. And this was his last movie. You got to be kidding me. This movie has so much energy to it. Man, if he didn't pass away, I bet you he would have gave us another really crazy action movie in the past few years. This, the plot is whatever. This movie opens with an incredibly violent soccer game. Yeah. And then it just moves on from there. At one point, a man gets run over by a car 4 times and keeps getting up. Like, this is what you're in for. Tons of action. Some really cool choreography in the fighting. Some good shootouts. This movie's got it all, baby. It moves faster than, I don't even know. I don't have an analogy or a metaphor for you. Vengeance of an Assassin. Check it out if you like just no-nonsense action. Not much of a plot, but who cares? Alright, so now we're past our Thai and Vietnamese patch, and now we're going to finish off the night with a handful of other movies. Some Filipino movies, some Indonesian movies, and some other stuff, like blends. And one example of a blend that I'm talking about is Three Extremes. So again, I can't include this in my Chinese language or Japanese or South Korean boxes because it has one of each in it. So I included in this kind of miscellaneous section. And this is a big one. This is one of the few Asian horror anthologies that people do talk about, and rightfully so. It's very good. I covered this in my Asian horror playlist from, let me get the correct year here. Where are you? 2004. So yeah, check out my video from that year. This is very good. Oh, there's some nice special features here. You have the full-length feature of Dumplings. So you have the short as part of the anthology and the full-length feature. You have audio commentary with Takashi Miike for Box. Making of Dumplings. A bunch of scenes, index, a few other stuff in it. Very good. Check out Three Extremes. Again, if you're into Asian horror, you basically have to watch it. And I have the sequel, too, Three Extremes, Part 2. Which, the first time I saw it, I thought there were a few good moments in it, or a few, positives to it, but I enjoyed it more after a second viewing. Check out my Asian horror playlist from 2002. And yes, that's not a mistake, as I explained in my Asian horror playlist. These short films came out before the short films in Three Extremes. So you have, just check out my video from 2002 if you want an explanation for why this has an older year of release, even though it's the sequel. Some good stuff. Good stuff. Alright. Got a not-so-good blind buy on this one. This movie got some pretty good reviews online, and I was left disappointed. The Golden Cane Warrior. So this one, there's like, it's about bow fighting, really. You know, the long stick. Problem with this movie, there's too much dead filler. There's too much dead weight, filler material to sit through in this. The only good action scene is near the very end, and it ain't worth waiting for. So, you know, I do not recommend this. Kind of a regret that I bought this. And it was a fairly recent release, so I don't know why Netflix didn't have it. But, yeah, I kind of got stung by this one. It's not awful, but it ain't worth seeking out. Here we have an Indonesian-Japanese co-production. The very popular Killers from 2014. Mo Brothers film, the guys who did Macabre and Headshot. This has some of the more interesting characters in their filmography so far. I did a separate review of this. Check out my separate review, non-spoiler, on my channel. I go all into depth. Very violent film, but also quite interesting. And well shot and directed, too. Killers. And no special features on it. Alright, got the unsubtitled version of Kuntilanak. I covered this in my 2006 Asian horror video. There's the lovely Julia Estelle on there. Hammer Girl, as most people know her as, from the Raid 2. Man, I wish I could have gotten this. These Kuntilanak films were apparently available at one time with subtitles in all-region format, but I just never really seeked them out. I watched them on YouTube back in the day, like 10 years ago. And then, you know, the last few years I started looking for them, and, you know, I saw that all-region subtitle versions are out of print, of course, so now basically screwed. I was lucky to get this one without subtitles. Very good horror movie. Again, this is an Indonesian film, and I enjoyed it. One that's very underknown, but it's kind of expected because it's not available with subs anywhere. Check out my Asian horror playlist from 2006. Another very good horror film here. Again, Mo Brothers, Macabre, also known as Dhara. This is kind of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre-esque horror film with a lot of violence, a very menacing lead antagonist, as you can tell from this cover. And this is, I think, the Region 2 UK release. I'm pretty sure this is the UK release with English subtitles. So you can get this one in Region 2 format with subs, but I don't think it's been available in the US. Maybe streaming, but not on DVD. Unless a recent one came out, but this is very good. Check out my Asian horror playlist from 2009 for my thoughts on that one. We have Iko's first big film, Merantau, Indonesian action film with Iko Uwais, directed by Gareth Evans, the director of the Raid films. I actually saw this when it came out, not in the theater, but once it came out on DVD, some people were emailing me because they knew I liked Asian movies. They're like, hey, did you see this Merantau film from Indonesia? I'm like, no. I watched it and it was awesome. So I was on the Iko bandwagon pretty early. So when the Raid came out, I was really happy for him because he got international acclaim pretty quickly, and rightfully so. This one, Merantau, it's not as action-packed as the Raid. It doesn't have as much action as the Raid 2 either. But it does have a lot of action to it. It just takes a while to get going. A more traditional martial arts film with some pretty good drama in it too. So check this out. Check Merantau out if you haven't already. And speaking of the Raid films, we have the Raid. Yes. Iko, Mad Dog, Yayan, Gareth, they're all here. And they just go completely nuts. This film is unbelievable. If you're even remotely a fan of action, you have to watch this. No questions asked. I don't know a single person who doesn't like this movie. Oh, I'm sorry. Roger Ebert gave it 1 star. That's all I need to know about that guy. So it's 100 minutes of special features on this, too. 7 featurettes on stunts and stuff. So This has some good special features. Alright, the Raid 2. I think it's better than the first. Well, it depends on what you feel like. If you want all-out action, no nonsense, watch the Raid. If you want a gangster drama with insane action in it, that's the Raid 2 for you. This has director commentary and a Q&A with the director, Iko, and the person who scored it. Utterly phenomenal. I saw this 8 times in New York City in one weekend. Yeah. Like, this is the most highly anticipated Asian film I ever went into. Like, that's how high my anticipation was for it, and it actually met those expectations, which is ridiculous, because my expectations were unreachable, and this reached it. The Raid 2 is no joke. We got The Road, the Filipino horror film. I'm not going to say much about this because I'm going to cover it fairly soon in my Asian horror playlist, and I want to save my thoughts until we get to that video. It'll be soon, though. I promise. I think this is very good, very ominous, and deliberately paced. So, The Road I recommend, of course. Alright, this next one I have some explaining to do. Yeah. Shake, Rattle, and Roll 6. Yeah. The only reason I bought this is because part 6 was the only one I hadn't seen from the first 10. So it didn't really make much sense for me to cover in my Asian horror playlist. Shake, Rattle, and Roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 7, 8, 9, 10. Those things kind of irritate me. So I bought the 6th one just to watch it. It's not good. It shouldn't be a surprise. Yes. Next we have a good Filipino horror film, Tenement 2, also known as T2, no relation to the Terminator. Now this one, let me see here. What year did this one come out at? I want to say, here, let me check this. Tenement 2 came out in 2009. So check out my video from 2009 for my thoughts on this. Good movie, good little horror film. It's got some interesting interaction to it. And finally, another Filipino horror film that I think is underrated and underknown. That's Wag Kang Lilingon. This one was released, I believe, in 2006. Split in half. You got 2 different stories. And this is surprisingly good. Surprisingly good. Again, check out my Asian horror playlist from 2006 for my thoughts on this. So that's it for my Southeast Asian collection. And, yeah, not bad. A lot of underrated movies, I must say. So check out my next video. We're going to crack into the Asian television series I think we're at now, right? That'll only take a few videos, and then we'll get rolling on those addendum videos. And as always, I will see you next time.